Hi, Miss Joy from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. Welcome to Garden Storytime. Today we're going to read Planting the Wild Garden, and then we're going to talk more about how seeds disperse themselves in the fall. This is the season when plants have finished their growing cycle, and they're going to ensure that new plants arrive next spring. So let's listen to the story, and then we'll come back together and we'll do a little craft experiment together.
Planting the Wild Garden, written by Catherine O'Galbraith, illustrated by Wendy Anderson Halprin. The farmer and her boy plant their garden. They drop seeds, tiny, fat, round, and oval, into the earth. From these seeds, pumpkins and peas, carrots and cabbages will grow. In the wild meadow garden, many seeds are planted too, but not by farmers' hands. Ooh, whoosh! The wind scatters seeds. It spills them and spins them and sweeps them up into the sunlight and out across the fields. Waves of black and gold dip into the meadow. The flock of goldfinches bobbles and sways. Some thistle seeds float to the earth. Others are strewn across the meadow in droppings. Under the afternoon sun, the pods of the Scotch broom grow hot and dry. Out pop their seeds like popcorn from a pan. They land here and there and over there, where they will have more room to grow. The rain patters on dusty leaves. Raindrops splash and splatter the dry earth, washing seeds to new places in the meadow. The stream carries seeds too. Minnows dine on some. Others lodge along the bank. Next spring, new pussy willow shoots will poke up through the mud. Hidden in the tall weeds, a rabbit nibbles a stalk of yarrow. Now a nibble of grass, nibble, nibble, hop, hop, another seed falls to the ground. A hungry shadow watches. She slips past the tangle of cockleburs. She creeps through the Queen Anne's lace. Seeds catch on her thick coat. They hook onto her white-tipped tail. And jump! Seeds fly off everywhere. In the summer moonlight, 1, 2, 3, 4 masked faces, 4 ringed tails. A family of raccoons feasts on blackberries. When they amble home again, bits of berries and seeds go with them. Next spring, new prickly canes will pop up everywhere. Thump, bump, an acorn falls, then another. Quick, quick, the squirrel buries both and hunts for more. When winter comes, scratch, 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 down through the snow he digs, 1 fat acorn, then another, plenty of food to last till spring. Some nuts are lost, but few are wasted. This great oak tree grew from an acorn buried many years ago. People help plant the meadow too. Seeds travel on muddy boots. Hitchhike on sweaters. Snag on socks. And whoosh! Sail on a puff of breath. Seed by seed, we plant this wild meadow garden. Wind and water, birds and animals, plants and people. All of us together.
You can tell from our story today that seeds travel in lots of different ways. I went out on a nature walk and I got some examples to show you. Look here on my tray. Of course, we think about seeds being inside of fruit. This is an apple I cut apart, and you can see the seeds there. So you know the gravity of the weight of that apple would cause it to fall to the ground and roll to a different place to plant itself. That's kind of cool. Do you ever see these pods hanging on trees this time of year? If you look up and you look around, did you know what's inside of here? There is a seed hiding in here. And this is really a thin piece of pod that really will take off into the air, and it will carry this seed, there it is, it'll carry the seed to a different location where it can plant itself. So there's several different of those. There's acorns, those are seeds of the oak tree. I have a thistle here. Once these dry out even more, did you know that all of those are seeds there? Every one of those is a seed that's going to grow that plant again. And it's almost like it's got this little fur hair on the top that will carry it in the wind and make it fly far away. And that's definitely true of these. In fact, these were moving around already on my tray. See the seed in the middle of this? Well, this whole little ball will carried off by the wind and taken to a different location. These I picked just the other day off of a maple tree. Now, these are fairly small, but I bet you call these helicopters. That's what we call them. And there's a reason we call them helicopters. Why is that? Because they fly. And so, again, this is the way the seed is lifted off and carried to a different location where it can grow and germinate. So I thought it might be kind of fun to make a model of one of these helicopters. And you'll need three things: a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and a paper clip. First thing we're going to do is just fold. We only need part of this paper, so we're going to fold it in half and in half again so that you get a nice rectangle. We just only need a part of the paper. So, because like I said, we don't need a huge piece of paper. Although, after you see how to do this, you can experiment with different sizes of paper. That could be kind of interesting. But for right now, we're just going to use a fourth of this paper. So I'm going to set this aside. And now I'm going to take this paper and fold it in half long ways. And again, just to give me some, it helps with the cutting if you fold it. So with the edges out, whichever way you're cutting, you want to have the edges on the outside, and you're going to cut a long rectangle out of this paper. So I'm going to trim it like this, and then trim it across like that. And basically what you're trying to do is you are trying to make a letter T with your paper, okay? So you're just going to cut out a rectangle and make the letter T. Then the last cut that you want to make is right here in the middle of the T. At the very top, you're just going to cut a slit into the paper right like that. All right? Now, the next thing is a folding job. With your T, you're going to fold this part down flat this direction. And then you're going to fold this part behind. Same thing, but just in opposite directions, so that when you open it, it'll look like this. So one flap's going this way and one flap's coming this way. All right? Last thing to do is to fold the end up and put a paper clip on the bottom. Now let's see if I can fly this helicopter. Here we go. Thanks for joining us for Garden Story Time this week. I hope you have fun making your maple seed model, and go on a great nature walk this week and see what other seeds you can find out there. We'll see you next time.